In our most recent meeting, we had a conversation with one of our priests about the topic which I want to cover today, and let's get straight to the point. So we discussed that quite soon we would face a situation when people will stop aging due to some genetic modifications, I think. And there were some people concerned about it not being a good thing if people stop aging, but are capable of dying due to bodily damage, for example. But lack of aging means that the genetic code doesn't get damaged irreversibly. It can be fixed, or at least the mechanisms that fix it and prolong its workability do it sufficiently enough for humans to live as long as they desire, or at least live a few hundred years instead of under 100 at most cases, you know. So one of the points that I and my fellow priests had to counteract was that with infinite amount of time, without need to hurry, people would lose all the incentive to grind, to work and hurry to achieve results. However, we underestimate the fact that doing nothing itself is boring. People always seek for means to get themselves busy, get themselves occupied, get their time spent on something. Infinite amount of time is not, physical immortality. Lack of aging, lack of death from age-related diseases, to be specific. That's basically what lack of aging is. Is not cure for hunger, cure for thirst. These things that pose immediate threat to our existence, those are the economic drivers for us to want to work. It's not that we fear that in some time we will die of age-related diseases. No, we work because we can die to thirst in 3 days, or to hunger in a few weeks. That's why we work. And those threats are relatively immediate. They would still remain as the primary factor for work. All right, so we faced another question. What about greed? Greed as the power that makes people strive for greatness, to be extra productive, more productive than is required for one to just satisfy their immediate needs. People want to have things. People want to spread their property, like buy more land, buy a house, get more cars. People want these things. But with infinite amount of time, one could simply wait and earn things, even on shittiest job or offering minimal effort. Yes, it is true that people would simply want to work with minimum effort to achieve things, and even maybe work a little bit more to save up over time, over colossal amount of time perhaps. But there still would be progress, because people are, tired of having the same environment all the time. They color hair, almost every day. There are many women who do that, at least. There are many men who, renovate their flats, houses, repaint their walls, fences. People would still want to have more. Yes, they wouldn't be worried about having to achieve things in short amount of time. That famous excuse for everything. I don't live forever. I have to grind. I have to fool my coworkers. I have to betray, deceive. These things that cause criminality and push people into achieving maximal results in shortest amount of time. People would still want to have things. They would still want new environments. It's just it would take longer. And who suffers from it? Some might say that company owners would suffer from it because it would take longer to produce wealth. But then again, they themselves would live infinite amount of time. Well, potentially infinite, unless they get bored and decide to commit, you know what. So it is no longer a problem. All wealth of the world can be collected without concerns for getting it as soon as possible. It's a win-win for everyone. Alright, it doesn't sound like obviously good things. It can be interpreted, I think. But what cannot be interpreted is that, what has only one way of interpretation, is that lack of aging means lack of retirement. There are no pensions to pay anymore. And it means that everyone, well, sorry, not everyone, but most of the population is in the age of work. People just continue paying their taxes. They don't have to support an older population anymore. There's no older population left. So they're not old and miserable. Everyone is supposed to contribute. Everyone is supposed to work and build the wealth of a nation exponentially, endlessly. Population growth might reduce significantly because without need of, prepare for retirement and get ourselves supporters in face of children, there is not really incentive to reproduce. Where do we hurry if we are forever young? Or, well, forever not old, at least. Yes, population will most likely stop growing, at least not fast. But it also means lack of children, so lack of support for kids, education, lack of need to, have teachers, at least in large quantities. And, lack of aging means endless learning. A person can just study, get work experience, learn more things, and there's not really limit to it. Only the duration of human memory is the limit, but there always are reminders. One can always be, directed by a company to take courses again, to renew their knowledge, to practice their skills more and more, again and again. So, workforce doesn't age, and workforce becomes more educated, more professional, because knowledge is accumulated in everyone. Everyone is not only physically capable of working potentially forever, but also capable of learning way beyond any comprehensive limits that we have right now. I guess you can imagine how beneficial it is to any company and to any economy. For now, we have to have population growth because the amount of new workers must exceed the amount of retired people. Because if there are more retired people than there are new workers, society might just collapse upon itself. Or maybe governments would have to reduce pensions or increase the retirement age, nearly to the limit of human mortality at current state, which can and usually does cause civil unrest. And if nobody ages, then there is no need for population growth, for new workers replacing the old, and the amount of new workers being greater than the amount of the old people, because there are gonna be no old people. I want to state that it is quite important to understand that it's unavoidable that people will research unaging technologies, because people want to live longer and to not be sick. They want to have more time. They want to achieve more, and for that they need more time for grinding. So there is demand for that. There is demand, and somebody will provide an offer. The economic and social benefits of lack of aging are so obvious that someone is going to achieve that. And when that happens, and it might already have happened, just not public yet, it will leak anyways. And when it leaks, people will want to have it. And when everyone has it, then there's just so much benefit to it. We don't age, we have endless amount of time, and with endless amount of time we can dedicate ourselves to creative work. You don't seriously believe that people are just lazy, evil, and they would get simply bored with eternity. No, they would want to experience everything in their life, and there's no way to experience everything because there is always progress, and there are people who want to use infinity for creative work, for research, and for invention. And with that, we simply have new things. There is no way to try everything in existence, because even when we come closer, somebody invents something new. Someone tries to make new art. Someone tries to build something that was never built before. We are creative species. Even if we suddenly get eternity, we don't stop progress and desire of creative work. There's simply no way to have all experiences in existence experienced in one life, even if it is an endless life. So there is no way for boredom to kick in. And also, lack of aging is going to make wonders on us as species in plane of morality. Because consider, there is no need for achieving as much as you can immediately, because you have potentially infinite amount of time. So you don't have to betray someone in order to get their position or their wealth. Scamming will not become a necessity. Anyone can enter even the lowest paying job. By the way, companies may start to pay less money for any amount of job, because then people just can, no matter how long it takes, in face of eternity, it's fine. They can just work their wealth honestly and patiently wait. They have nowhere to rush, so they can cope with small salaries. In order to achieve that wealth that they need to obtain more things that they desire. And because there is no hurry, there is no need for scamming, there is no need for treason, there is no need for bootlicking, and there is no need for planned marriages, for dishonest marriages, when women or men marry someone else in order to achieve their wealth quickly. Because most of the time it's the fear of death, the fear that one won't experience things that they desire before death arrives. If death doesn't arrive, like by the means of aging, then there is no objective need for those disgusting things. And people who do those things without objective need, are going to do it for the sake of aesthetics, and that's basically it. And most things are dictated by need. If we don't have the need to achieve as much as we want throughout lifetimes, then we will be more picky with the means that we choose to achieve things. It wouldn't eliminate war, it wouldn't eliminate sabotage, and when companies kill their competitors through assassinations, for example. It won't cease to exist because companies fight for resources and for markets where they can sell their products. They fight for domination over these two things. However, intensity of that competitive fight is going to reduce because the company owners and leadership will have enough time to plan things carefully, and there is going to be no incentive for a hurry. The only reason to hurry is to obtain resources faster than the competitors. But the fear of death of the owners and the leadership is going to be out of the way. So competition will become slower and less intense, and because of that, there's a possibility of collaboration on, researching new ways to obtain resources. I'm pretty sure with lack of aging, there would be more people who would just achieve everything that they wanted, and then just decide, okay, I live forever. I want to be an astronaut. Like, they would have infinite amount of time to go to gym, to study in universities, and receive all the education they need, and develop all the skills they need to go to space. And that's an opportunity for companies to start colonizing planets, to start exploiting planets, to send people under the water, under the ocean, because there would be people who want to try new and before inconceivable things, like something adventurous, unthinkable. There would be people who would be begging for being used in a creative, unusual manner and to be the fuel of progress. For now, there are too few people because they fear that if they dedicate their life to becoming an astronaut, for example, they might spend tens of years in vain and never be accepted, and when they face the refusal, they are already old and are about to die to age-related diseases or about to face them and suffer. But without aging, that's not a problem. We are going to face much healthier population in general, and much healthier population in general is population that's ready to take more risky jobs. And more risky jobs is, of course, more injuries, so medicine doesn't go away at all. It doesn't mean that our life will become, less toxic, that there will be less dangerous productions, no. But it means that there are going to be more people willing to take the risk to do something with their eternity. As I said previously, there is demand for that, and there is going to be offer. So I'm calling for anyone who has power, who runs a company, just please try and research immortality. There are living beings that have genes that allow them to live forever. For example, lobsters, they just grow, they just reach some amount of size, and then they are unable to catch prey anymore, and then so they die of hunger. But if taken care of, they may live forever. There are fish who may live forever and simply grow and grow and grow until they are unable to hunt or become easy prey themselves. If we can achieve that, I think, through the means of genetical engineering, or good kitten, or we could achieve that through we now can grow cells, right, through the genetic code of a person. So what about we start growing full bodies and start connecting neurons? We can grow neurons, right, at this point of history. We can grow a new body, connect the brains of the old body and the new one, and face the situation when the person controls two bodies at once. It's going to be one consciousness. Well, at least shared perceptive unit. And a person is not the combination of knowledge and experiences, but the one who experiences things. It's one perceptive unit. So when there is a perceptive connection, we can just kill the old body while maintaining connection. And while the old body is dying, all the signals are going to be transferred to the younger body, and thus we can complete, personality transfer. That's when we can renew our bodies. It's also a way to achieve unaging, or a form of immortality, and we quite can achieve it at this point of history. Or if we don't know details yet, we might as well just fund researchers who can find a way to do it, who can experiment with that. If you hear that, obtaining genes of other animals that are unable to age would make us not humans anymore, then the latter proposition is going to, keep our humanity intact. It's just we would be able to have new bodies. We could be able to renew ourselves, or maybe even create clones, and that's a potential for increased workforce, and we could copy people with experiences and with knowledge this way, because connected brains would connect and share experiences. They would share knowledge too, and thoughts and ways of thinking. So we can just copy valuable people this way and maintain humans. But I personally think that does it really matter whether we are very human or not? Why don't we just make unaging people and make a possibility of everyone being able to clone themselves and connect their brains, and if they desire, kill their bodies during the session of connection, so they can live in younger body, or separate the bodies after a period of connection, so we have people with cloned, with copied experiences and knowledge. It would just, there is nothing bad about it at all. And please, if somebody says that God doesn't desire us to live forever, He made us mortal. Originally, God made us immortal, according to the Bible, right? It's just Adam and Eve who ate from the tree of knowledge, and then God punished them with mortality. But it has nothing to do with us, We are their descendants, and we didn't do anything bad to deserve mortality. We were not there. Why do we have to suffer for that? Is it moral? If God doesn't desire us to be immortal, so if God doesn't desire us to be immortal, please show me a video or audio confirmation of God not desiring it. And please, I want to see or hear it from God, not from a person who impersonates God or, claims to be the connector, a priest or something. No, please, show me the message of God that He prohibits it. Show that. Don't interpret some part of an ancient book. Just ask God and present me the proof that God doesn't want it. Okay? And of course, the proof that you're not faking that order of God prohibiting immortality. I think that, right now, while I'm talking, the materials that I'm recording is not yet uploaded, but I am planning to upload it. And if God doesn't want, God, do you hear me? If you don't want this to happen, if you don't want people to be immortal, then please make it that this video doesn't make it to YouTube, and whoever is going to be watching it right now, like, I mean, not right now for me, but right now for you, viewer, because of course I recorded it in the past, you get it. So, if you don't want immortality for humans, then please make it so nobody views this video ever. Nobody sees it, and that this video is not online. Okay? If you think that I talked to God in a wrong way, like, I'm sorry, what? I can pray, and prayer is verbal communication. And I did verbal communication, and God is everywhere, right? God is in every bit of universe. If God exists, then he is everywhere, and in my heart too. So I'm pretty sure he heard me, okay? Come on, if you really believe that God exists and doesn't want people to be immortal, he definitely heard me. He heard me. Do you want to say that God ignores someone? Do you want to say that God is not everywhere and he is only in specific buildings, in temples, churches, or whatever? Is that what you want to say? But where was God before temples? I mean, even Adam and Eve, when they were, kicked away from the Garden of Eden, they didn't have a temple. Did the world where they come into, like they were kicked out of Adam and Eve, obviously they appeared on the rest of the earth. Is the rest of the earth godless? Or let's say you're Hindu or whatever. So Vishnu, Shiva, Brahma, somebody else, the same applies to you. I'm sure you heard me, right? If you are Wiccan, then horned god and the goddess, come on, strike me, prevent me from doing it, just make a glitch and make this video never come to the internet, and just prevent people from viewing it. I'm not saying that I think that divinity is bullshit. No, I'm being, tactical and politically correct. So I'm not saying that. If there is God, please stop me. If there is God and he talks to someone specific, please, that person, reach out to me or to anyone who starts, developing unaging technology after watching this video. Please provide proof that God doesn't want it. Provide the proof from God, not your own interpretations of an ancient text. No, you're not God. God can speak for himself. Didn't God in ancient texts come to people directly, like burning bush that speaks, or descendant from, I don't know, from the sky, or materialized out of thin air? God can speak for himself, really. Don't try to speak for God. If God wants you to deliver his message, it's weird, but possible, why not? Then you are to prove that that message is really from God. I mean, you don't want a heretic, a random person, to just claim that they are messenger of God and just say whatever they want and prevent any progress which God doesn't necessarily prohibit, right? There has to be proof. I'm sorry, I spent a lot of time on, fighting religious thing in this question. Please, whoever watches this video, if you have power, if you are an owner of a company, if you are a politician or maybe military, we need unaging technology. We will have workforce that doesn't age, that is forever available for work, still has need to eat and drink, and has endless time to plan their entertainment. So there's going to be economic benefit. There are going to be endlessly learning stuff. I mean, stuff like people who are hired. They are going to be study forever. They're going to go to universities over and over until their memory is simply incapable of keeping more information. Because the more they study, the more work they can do, the more efficiently they work, and so the more they earn to satisfy their desires and entertain themselves. We are going to have insanely educated population, and we are not going to have the need for pensions, and we don't have to worry about population growth. There will be no need for there to be more workers than there are retired people, because no retired people. It is good. It is so heavenly good. Just go for it. Let's stop aging. Let's stop having death as something we don't consent to. I want to die when I want to die, or at least I want that my children are able to die when they decide to die, when they get depressed and want to have assisted self-offing. That should be not a non-consensual thing. Dying is like rape. I mean, why do we have to get miserable with age? Let's get productive. Let's get creative. Let's live forever. Well, potentially forever. I am sure there will be people who get tired and just get depressed, and in the way of their depression, they just kill themselves. That's gonna happen, but there is going to be no incentive for reproduction. People, there won't be overpopulation. There won't be shortage of resources. I mean, cost with overpopulation. In fact, population will shrink because no need to reproduce. And with that, we can have more automated workforce, more robots, less people who are resistant to, robots taking their jobs. Because if population doubles, because death of old age is a thing, then the problem of robots taking over production is going to be a problem for double more amount of people. Well, maybe not double, but I guess 1/3 more. But it's still going to be a problem if we age. If we don't age, then population either stops growing or shrinks, which is more likely that it will shrink. And then less people will complain about AI taking their jobs or AI automating their jobs, and so they are not useful anymore in the field that they used to work in. And they won't worry about it because there will always be a backup plan for them. I mean, like, imagine someone was studying to be a lawyer all their life just to find out that ChatGPT replaced them as a lawyer. So they fall in depression because they are already 50 or, well, maybe 40, 45. And they can't just spend 10 or 15 more years to study other field. They are in despair. But if they don't age, then they can just go study something else. They can go to, I don't know, to cafes and work there for minimal wage and just study slowly and wait until they get a new profession and happily work there. So it will, well, significantly decrease civil unrest. Isn't it good? Isn't it amazing? It solves many problems. It solves problems for politicians, for military. There is going to be less need for violence, more opportunity to plan, more opportunity to find new ways of enrichment for everyone, for companies too, for the rich too, because the poor will present less pressure. Of course, disease is not going to disappear. Of course, hunger and starvation and thirst will not disappear, and deaths to work in dangerous environments. It will not disappear. Medicine is not going to go away anywhere. And I'm pretty sure if populations don't age, there is always a way to make people's lives worse and support medical field through, let's say people just get sick all the time with newer and newer diseases, so they still have to buy medicine anyways. It's just the medicine itself is going to change. Like, cancer treatment will become less in demand because usually old people need it, but antibiotics are going to be in demand. And we know that companies may artificially lower the supply of antibiotics, right? It's always a possibility. But at least we as species get possibility to die when we want to die. I mean, age for now is unavoidability. We can die to disease, yes, we can die to radiation, to chemistry, but if age is not a problem, it's the only thing that is unfixable now, and it is the only thing that makes people rebel and rise against oppression, against companies, because they don't have infinite time to look for solutions for their problems. Even if they get themselves healthy, if they earn enough money to fix some of their health problems, they are already old, they already have cancer, age-related diseases, and it was all in vain. And there are specific people, politicians and their regimes and the military that support its regimes, who are responsible for that. But with lack of aging, one at least can believe that they have infinite amount of time to find solutions for their problems, to infinitely postpone solving the problem too. And that's possibility, that's opportunity for medical corporations, because they can just give those medications that just prolong suffering of a patient and don't cure them. So there's also profit in it, endless profit. And the more people get sick but don't die of old age, the more profit there is. It's sadistic, it's kind of evil, but death is worse than suffering. Death is end of any experience. There is no liberation in death. There is no pride in death. Death is end of everything. And because of that, it is the prime death of age. It's prime motivator for people to hurry, to not wait, to not postpone forever, because for now they don't have the forever. But if they have the forever, they can cope. They will be unhappy, but there will be. And I'm sure for a company that is ready to abuse people in that way, it doesn't really matter if they suffer, if their existence is miserable. They already are ready to milk people for money infinitely. It's only win for them. And I believe it's win for the patients too. Miserable existence is better than no existence. Okay, I guess some moralists will come and say it's better to die happy than live miserable forever. There is no happy death. In order to die, a body has to undergo such experience that it cannot cope with. There is only, unbearable suffering. Such suffering that leads to death, leads to non-existence. It's such an experience that is incompatible with life. Death is no liberator. The last thing a person will experience is pain and suffering, and they will not experience relief. Relief is lack of suffering, but there is not going to be relief too. There is going to be no consciousness, no perceptive unit to comprehend relief. There is no such a thing as messy kill, messy death. No, it's bullshit. Please just shut up. You don't understand that death is end of everything and not a glimpse of relief, a glimpse of happiness, a glimpse of whatever you think death is. Death is bad. Always bad. It's if everything is fine, body doesn't die. If everything is good, body doesn't cease to function. Okay, there can be a quick death. Like being smashed by, an immeasurable force, or being shot in the head with a shotgun. Perhaps. But that's still moments of pain. Maybe neurons won't have time to react and there will be no pain. But do you want to say that patients who live with suffering forever don't have that option to just end their lives? Like, they get tired of living and they decide, consent to, project themselves to death. That is better. That is better than dying without a choice. Age doesn't ask if we want to die. But with lack of aging, we'll always be able to be asked, do we want to die or not? Do we want to end our suffering or not? I think consent is greater thing that our species has achieved. The concept of consent. And we shouldn't just throw it away for some idea of what one perceives as moral or not. May people decide. May people let people decide whether they want to die or not, and how they want to die. Age doesn't ask us. Alright, sorry, I got carried away. Thank you for watching the video, and I wish you greatest luck with your endeavor of achieving any form of immortality. Please, it's doable. I personally don't have money, but I do whatever I can in order to get someone researched. Like making this video and convincing other people to make videos like this. There is demand. And we want to show that there is demand. Please give us offer too. Just give us offer. Even if you force it on us, you force us the ability to have consent to death. To, making death more consensual than it is right now. You only do good to yourself. Whatever you are, a company, a politician, a military force, it doesn't matter. You're doing good to yourself, you're doing good to others. Everyone benefits, you including, especially you. Because, as I said, less civil unrest, more profit, more experienced workforce, more professionals, less old people. It's just good. It's just a strong pump for society, for any economy. Just go for it. Go. Now. Go. Do it. Yes. Give your money to researchers that do this. Or start the research yourself. Just go for it. Now.